So, today we will be discussing the transits of the weekend. And it's a very exciting week this week because of the Cazimis. And so we wanted to talk about that as soon as we get a little bit of movement here. Let me just see one thing here. Okay, here we go. So what we're having this week is the week to really begin things. You know, we had the new year, we've had the New Year's resolutions, we've had a full moon already. And so now we're approaching a time where it's really important for us to take advantage of the transits and the energy of the week before we run into some stickier transits that are coming up at the end of January as January keeps going, and definitely into February. We have some life-changing transits that will happen in the next month or so. And so right now, this week is a good time. Welcome in, Venusian Commander. Is a good time to take advantage of the good vibes, okay? It's really important in ancient astrology. It's very much a discerning if times are favorable or unfavorable. And the truth is that it really depends on what you make it, okay? And it's never going to be a perfect day. There's always going to be hiccups and challenges and things like that. Welcome in, Soda. And so this week we have, thank you for the daily heart me. Aw, thanks. Let me do my sound. So this week we have a Cazimi, two Cazimis, not one, but two. And so we've already had the Venus Cazimi on Tuesday, and that was a lovely transit, I hope, for you guys. It was a lovely transit where Venus gets drawn into the sun's orbit. Welcome in, Asteria. Hi. I know I sound a little sick here, so I'm going to just power through anyway, guys. Thank you for the daily heart me. Welcome in, welcome in. So we've had two Cazimis this week. And so the first one was Venus. Venus got drawn into the sun's orbit and then released from the orbit to emerge as good. I'm so glad. It says Danny, it's been amazing. I'm so glad. Venus has been blessing the week. And like, as I was saying at the beginning, this is really a week to kind of take advantage of the energy here, because what's really important is not so much even Venus, but the setup for Mars. Thank you for the donuts. Thank you for the friendship necklace. Thank you so much. So this is a good setup for the whole year, really, because in terms of synodic cycles, Venus has just begun a new cycle. Yes, that's exactly why. Okay, there were a few days where I had crazy great love feelings. Maybe that's why. Absolutely. And Venus got drawn into a Cazimi is when a planet gets drawn into the sun's orbit. And it's brought into what we call the throne room of the sun, where it gets infused with light and purpose. And then it emerges to continue its journey through the cosmos. And so what's really interesting is that Venus was able to have her Cazimi on Tuesday and then emerge as a nighttime star. And so and then after that, Venus and Mars conjuncted in the skies. Trying to say a PG? Yes. Oh, I meant the laughter. Here we go. trying to say it PG. And so when Mars and Venus conjoined in the skies on Wednesday, then they kind of switched places. And then tomorrow morning at 6:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's going to be 3:41 a.m. Pacific Time. Good. It's going to be another Cazimi. And this time, and this is why I'm going live today, this time the Cazimi is Mars. And Mars, whereas we had that whole infusion of connection and harmony and beauty and love and all of that, Mars is going to solidify all of that inspiration and feeling. And Mars is, no, don't say oof, because Mars is exalted right now. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and Mars, it represents our desires, okay? So it's going to infuse all of those feel-good feelings. Thank you. Thank you for the daily heart me. I appreciate you. And so Mars is going to infuse us after that blessing from Venus with passion and determination, and give us the wherewithal to follow through on what we are committing to. And that's why this is the week to start something new, to make a commitment to something, to commit to something beautiful. Yes, if your Venus is in Capricorn, this is perfect for you because Venus is in Capricorn right now. So we just had the Venus Cazimi, and now Mars, which is in Capricorn also, where it's exalted, is in a perfect position to really lock in what you're committing to. If you feel those feelings of something beautiful, commit to it. Bunker down, because it won't always be that way. This year has a lot of tricky transits. So now is the time to take the feel-good feelings of love and connection and harmony and watch it and be infused with Martian energy of passion and dedication, and really that Capricorn energy of achievement. And so I took some notes. The difference between the Venus Cazimi and the Mars Cazimi, trying to fix my marriage, so I'm going to say this is good. Same, Soda. So I would say trying to fix our marriages. Yay. That clap was a little, what about triumph? Okay, never mind with the sound effects, but this is a good time to be trying to fix things. Hey there, Phyllis, welcome in. So we're just divining the difference between a Venus Cazimi on Tuesday and then the Mars Cazimi tomorrow morning. And so the difference, the similarity is that the planet gets drawn into the sun's orbit, right? Good, almost fell apart last month, but making progress again this month. Oh, good. Thank you so much for the daily heart me. Welcome in, say my name. So with the Mars Cazimi, it disappears into the solar realm, and then it passes through the core of light. Okay, this is what's happening to these planets as they go Cazimi. Thank you for all the emojis. Thank you so much. And so once Mars gets into that center, it reaches the seat of the sun where it is clarified. And I don't know if you guys know what a process of clarification is, but it's like a burning away of what's unnecessary. And I remember, Asteria, you wondering if there was some shadow work involved in this. And I think that's where it comes in. But we'll circle back to that later too. But what's really important to remember is that there is a clarity and a burning away of what is muddying our vision of the future, of what we need to buckle down and commit to, okay? So that's where our hopes and dreams and wishes and the things that we felt on Tuesday and the things that we hope for the future is, it says obstructed. I don't think so. Sorry, just fixing my camera. So it's clarified. And so Mars in Capricorn is exalted, and Mars is going to begin its cycle. It begins anew. So what's really important here is that as Venus emerged from the Cazimi as a nighttime star, and she'll be visible in a couple weeks at night, Mars emerges from the Cazimi as a morning star. Okay? So this is a beautiful thing that just happened. Both planets met up together, Cazimi with the sun, meet up with each other. They're called the cosmic lovers, okay? And then what happens? Venus emerges as an evening star. We'll see her at night. They're under the beams right now because they're so close to the sun. But as they pull away, Venus will be a morning star or an evening star in the nighttime sky, and Mars will be a morning star in the morning night sky, okay? And so what's beautiful about that is that Mars takes on, whereas Venus takes on a yin energy, Mars takes on the yang energy, okay? So we have this ability to be more calculated, to have more precision, to turn our raw impulse and raw passion into more refined, mature, steady, purposeful action. Okay? And so that's the difference between the Venus Cazimi and the Mars Cazimi. And like I said, the Mars Cazimi will happen on Friday, tomorrow morning at 6:41. Yes, refined action, absolutely. So what I'm also realizing is that there's a deep recalibration that's happening with Mars being reborn with the new solar synodic cycle. And so that's where we're getting the, Mars in Capricorn is a lot more calculated. So what we're doing is we're figuring out, how to have steady purpose in action, how to wait, plan, and endure, how to focus, how to direct our ambition with actual direction. Okay. So this is the new and improved Mars as it comes out of this Cazimi. So this is why this is a good week to start things, right? So this is the old is burned away. We leave the past behind. And we're also, these are all the little notes that I took of different aspects of this. And then we're discerning what battles we need to fight and what battles we should not engage in. So I think that's when it comes to, yeah, freaking out is so aligned. Yes, I think that's what it happens when it comes to like the shadow work is like, what do you engage in and what do you say, nope, not going to get me this time, because Mars is taking on a new role and it's taking on a new veil, okay? And so, especially in relationships, right, we have to realize that choosing our battles is the number one thing that that professionals of relationships and all of that tell us is that you need to choose your battles, right? And so Mars is coming out of this, the old is burned away, we're leaving the past behind, and we're starting anew with this new Cazimi and the new Mars synodic cycle. So isn't that beautiful, guys? I think that's beautiful. Another thing is that Mars in Capricorn is about endurance once motivation fades, okay? So right now we have the feels, we have the good energy, the motivation, the inspiration, all of that. But we need to have that endurance when that motivation fades, and this year will require it. Trust me. It's like there's already a lot going on. I don't know if you guys watch the current events, but it's going bananas out there. And so we need to have endurance and lock in and that takes me to my next point, is to not expend our energy that we don't need. We need to recover and save our energy for what we really want to invest in. Yeah, we need to lock in. Welcome in, Maggie. So we have the resolve, we have the endurance, we have the motivation, we have a realignment of will. Where will we where are we hemorrhaging energy is what I wrote down. Where are we hemorrhaging our energy and our purpose and our tears and our anger and our emotions to something that's not worthy of it, right? So we got to lock in. Got to lock in. Redefine success. That's another thing, is redefining what success is. Mars has a tendency to rush into things, but if we redefine success, if we redefine what we're working towards, especially think Capricorn, redefine what we're working towards or what success looks like, then we're putting ourselves in a position to not be so expending our energy or working ourselves too hard. You know, it's work smarter, not harder, okay? So Mars becomes a morning star. It's full of purpose. It has assertion. It has decisiveness. And so because my voice is going, I'm not going to do a whole hour, but I want to do the 12 horoscopes really quickly of where Mars is making this transition for you in your life based on your rising sign. And so I have this new signification of the houses, which I think is really cool. So I'm going to be adding different little words or significations than I do usually. Yeah. So we are going to start with Aries. Rising signs time. Yeah, it's rising sign time. We are going to start with Aries, and let me put that up on the helm. They call the first house the helm. Okay, let me put, I want to change. Hold on, guys, bear with me. So how are you guys feeling today? Today, we didn't have any planetary transits, but we had lunar transits. And I'm actually on a deep dive right now to learn more about lunar transits and the ways that that the moon is really the determiner. I don't think that's a word. I think the moon really is the indicator of what our fortune is. And so as we look at the skies, the planets, when they interact with each other, they speak loudly and they, yeah, good, feeling randomly happy today. So the planets, when they interact with one another, they pull focus, but it is the moon that represents our bodies, our fate, our existence here on earth. And so I was reading about how the moon, and this is really beautiful, how when the moon transits to the outer planet, it brings the themes of that planet back down to our terrestrial existence. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. So let's go to Aries. I'm getting distracted, but the moon is really, I'm diving deep into moonology, they call it. And it's really given me a lot of insight into not only how important the moon is, but also, how come this is, hold on one second, guys. I got too many tabs open. This is very Geminian of me. I can't even organize. Okay, here we go. Is this even the right one? Oh, nope. Okay. They said being a Gemini is like having like 20 tabs open in your mind. And I think they're right. Definitely think that's accurate. Okay. Let's take it back here and let's get to, hold on, let's put Aries on the horizon. Here we go. We're moving. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. Okay. So, with Aries at the helm, we have Mars, and keep in mind that it's not just Mars, it's Mars and Mercury and Venus and the Sun. There's a lot of energy here in this house for you, depending on your rising sign. Yes, all the mutable signs. Yeah, because Sag is doing that too. Yeah, Mercury too. And Mercury is much more like, all right, we're getting serious here. What's the message? What's the message for us to process? Because Mercury is the planet of processing. But I was looking up this really in-depth list of significations. And so for Aries, this is happening in the 10th house. So Mars Cazimi for Aries rising. We have this Martian transformation of redefining or refining our will and our determination and our desires and our efforts in the house of honor, reputation, career, fame, achievement, and exposure. Okay? So this is really important for the Aries risings. Yeah, I would say that too for Sagittarius. I would agree for creative projects or like passions. You have so much passion for Sagittarius. That's what I think of when I think of Sag, is like all of these like passions and experience and all of that. And so for my Aries, though, this whole complete regeneration is happening. And as far as like love and creativity and all of that, as far as Venus goes, all of this is happening in the 10th house of public image, exposure, reputation, and honor. Okay. And that's a really beautiful thing to have clarity in that realm for my Aries risings, because this is going to push us through for I think the Martian cycle is like 8 years or something. It's something big. I think this is a new cycle for Aries that will go on. So this energy is going to echo. Yes, absolutely. Gemini thoughts, Sag passions, Pisces feelings, Virgo business ideas. Yes. Virgo is more like criticisms. I can say that because I'm a Virgo moon. So that's what I have for Aries rising, is that this is happening in your 10th house, and they call it the house in ancients, call it the house of praxis. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. For Taurus, we have this Martian recalibration and refinement of our will and effort and desire and drive in the house of God, is what the ancients called it. The house of God is the house of study and travel and religion and philosophy, ethics, discovery, the higher mind, higher education, and the higher self. So, spirituality, scholarly pursuits, but I think of this house as the house of God, the house of those who seek God, and that seeking process and that seeking ability and drive and that need, because each house represents an aspect of our lives. We need a house that represents our mind, like the higher minds, and how we reach. Yeah, yeah, how we reach for something bigger than us, right? And so this is going to be important as Mars is here with that will to persevere through the hard stuff. I think that will give a lot of clarity for my Taurus risings on how to pursue God, spirituality, higher learning, all of those things in a way that's even more effective. So you're not kind of aimlessly going. This is a moment of clarity and clarification. Okay, let's move on. Here we go with Gemini. For Gemini, we have this Martian transformation, regeneration, and recalibration in the sign of karma, fear, generational gifts, lessons, shared resource and contracts, soul contracts, mystery, and deep psyche. Yes. This is a recalibration of your deepest psyche and deepest connections and calibrating those, kind of conquering those fears, or even figuring out, especially if we think about the way the sun is clarifying Mars before it emerges as a morning star. It's going to emerge bright and shiny and new. So maybe clarifying away some of those fears that are holding us back, right? Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And this is where Venus is also. So this is important because Venus is going to offer you a soft landing for some of these things. Mercury being here is going to give you a voice and a way to process these things. And then Mars is going to give you that courage. Mars is about courage and conviction. And it's about, like, making sure you've got your boundaries set and making sure that you are, really, really receiving when you need it. Because I think a lot of times, as a Gemini, I think a lot of times we can be afraid to receive things. It's okay to give things, but it's harder to receive things. So for Mars merging as a morning star, I think that it could be putting us in a position to go get things, to really put ourselves out there and be a little less fearful, a little bit more confident and courageous, and a little bit more measured, of course, and determined when it comes to those connections with our deepest connections with other people. I loved receiving things, Soda said. So do I. That's so real. That's so real. Okay, let's keep it going to Cancer. Okay, so for my Cancer risings, I have to always mention that Jupiter is here in Cancer, so this is a really good time for y'all. And although we have all of these planets opposing Jupiter, and I was going to talk about this at the end, about what the night sky is going to look like, and we'll get to that shortly here. But for my Cancer risings, this is pivotal because Mars and Venus are Cazimi in the 7th house of romance, of commitment, marriage, long-term relationships, deep bonds, friendship, partnership, and others. Okay? So for Cancer, you've been having this kind of reawakening with Jupiter in the 1st house, kind of expanding things about the 1st house and the ego and the self. And all of these planets are in the 7th house of others. And it's really time to refine how we connect with people. And this is a really good time to regenerate ourselves and renew ourselves, as if you're Cancer rising, to those connections. Soda, what's your partner's rising sign? Okay, let's keep it going to Leo. I already know this one. Virgo, we're almost there. So for Leo, this is in our 6th house of health, lifestyle, the unexpected, caring for our bodies, duties, labors, sacrifice, injury, and illness. Isn't that fun? So Mars, the planet of accidents, is being renewed in the house of injury for us Leos. And how fitting that I have the worst bug ever right now. So I think that's the thing about astrology, and the thing about divination is I know that I want to, and I strive to be a great astrologer. And as I really dig into it, the more I learn, the more I realize that the only way to be truly great and to be truly honest is to be fully accepting of what I see, whether it's favorable. Oh, closest sister, Leo rising, just had eye surgery. See? And that's the thing, to really be honest about what we see, whether it's favorable or unfavorable. And sometimes you just roll the dice. And for some people, like for Cancer risings right now, this is a favorable time for these planets to be Cazimi in the seventh house of romance and butterflies and love and all of that. And good for them. Just kidding. I'm not bitter. But for Leo risings, hey, Shreddy, for Leo risings, we have this happening in our sixth house. So what we have is the opportunity. Thank you for the daily heart me. Oh snap. Thank you. So for Leo risings, this is a time for us to recalibrate and renew our determination on how to make the best of it. That's what the sixth house is about. Thank you so much for all the love and comments. Thank you. We are on Leo risings for this Mars Cazimi. This is a really good time to start something. And it's the beginning of the year. We have our resolutions. The zodiac calendar is its own thing, but it just so happens to be lining up that this week is actually a really good week to start new things and to seed things that we really have hopes for the year, because Mars is coming into an audience with the sun and then emerging from this Cazimi as a morning star, which is going to be, it's an initiative. It's going to be new starts. And this is going to come at a time right before Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, where after that, new starts. Oh, you're Mars Aries? Oh, I know. You know what? My daughter is, my ex-husband is, my current husband is. I know a lot of Mars and Aries folks. And y'all have a lot of passion, a lot of energy and drive. And right now, Mars is being clarified and it's being refined because it's in the sign of Capricorn. And so what's going to happen is that it's taking on this new mask of being more business-like, because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. And so it's more discerning. It's more about plotting and planning and waiting in the cut. And so this is the way that Mars is going to take new shape in the morning sky as a morning star. And it's a time for us to really take into consideration these ways of refining our efforts and not like wasting our effort and time on things that are expendable, and not rushing into anything as much as taking sure and measured steps. So for Leo, this is happening in that sixth house of health. As we all know, as a Leo rising, I am very trying to get back healthy. So let's move on to, let's see here. Next we got Virgo. Yes, we all are. That's so true. Crazy weather and food. Yes. Okay. Let's get to Virgo. So I like this for Virgo. I really like this for Virgo. And for my Virgos, this is always a time. Virgos are so hard on themselves. I think it's funny because someone was like, I think the one sign that I wouldn't want, any placements is Virgo. And I was like, that's a Virgo moon. I was like, But I can understand it, because heavy is the crown that thinks so hard and thinks of everything and sees and really perceives everything and sees what needs to be done, and can sometimes get overwhelmed with their own self-talk, with their own inner dialogue, and with all of that. So for all of these planets, Venus, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, to be in the sign of Capricorn, this is the fifth house of good fortune. And so this is what I was saying as an astrologer. It's about being able to read the signs and be completely honest about what we see and then leave it there. So for Virgo, this is happening in the house of good fortune, joy, happiness, creativity, play, fun, sex, children, pleasure, music, birth, entertainment. This list goes on and on. Art and love and self expression. So, to break that down a little bit, Venus is really infusing this house with the good feels. Good. He's been so nice this week. Yes. And the thing is, because the fifth house for Virgo is Capricorn, sometimes it's hard for them to let go and have fun. With a Virgo rising, that fifth house of good fortune is already a little compromised because Capricorn is so serious. But with Venus having a Cazimi with the sun this week, there's nothing that can get Virgo down. And with Mars getting clarified and exalted, this is a great time where they're feeling energized, fortified for the future, and all of that. So yes, serious and precise and analytical. Absolutely, she ready. Except for the garbage. Yes, exactly. Yep, that's very true. So for my Virgo risings, this is happening in the fifth house, and it's going to be a good time to, if they're creative or if they have any creative pursuits. They're also, one of the words here is birth. If you want to birth something, now is the time, especially for Virgo, to start something new. So let's move on to Libra. For Libra, this Mars Cazimi, this infusion and this redefining and refining of our effort and our will is happening in the fourth. Yeah, I would say so. Investments. You mean financially? I don't know about investments financially. That would be a different house. I think that would be the second house or perhaps the 10th house. It might be a good time to try and get lucky, like play some kind of lotto or something. But with Capricorn in that fifth house, I don't know about gambling for Virgo rising either. Applying for, yes, absolutely. Applying for a position, yes. That I would say yes. Hey, Nay, the blurty one, welcome in. So um, for Libra, this is happening with this Mars clarification in your fourth house of land, home, heritage, roots, ancestry, generational gifts and knowledge, femininity, childhood, upbringing, security, and inner life. They call this the subterranean house, okay? This is the deepest of depths. This is the bottom of our charts, okay? If you look here, this is right at the bottom here, where it's the cradle of our life. And so this is where the family lives. This is where our rich inner mind lives. And so for Libra rising, this clarification is happening in the fourth house of family, home, and rich inner world, okay? So let's move on. Let's move on to Scorpio. She ready? Are you an Aries rising? Oh, what's going on here? Okay, from my Scorpios, Scorpio rising siblings. Okay, for Scorpios, this is happening. The Mercury clarification is happening in the third house of the mind, of intellect, of gathering and processing information. Okay, of siblings, community, short travels, our to-do lists, our technical skills, our communication and our inner dialogue, okay? So for my Libra risings, this is the time to get serious about what you tell yourself. Or Scorpio rising, I'm sorry. For Scorpio rising, this is time to get serious about what you're telling yourself, about how you're communicating, about your mental health, literally, of what's going on in there. That dialogue that you're saying to yourself, it's really important to clarify that, to expend all the negative and excess baggage, clear it away. Mars wants to cut that stuff away because Mars is a cutter away of things. So for my Libra risings, this is happening in the third house of the mind. Oh, good. On TikTok about mental health. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. You really can't. Okay. Let's do Saggies. Now, for Sagittarius, this is a good time for clarification and refining in the second house of values and value and worth and wealth, okay? And I always break this house down the same way, but this time I'm going to give a little bit different list here. We got self-esteem, possessions, resources, saving and spending style, personal wealth, ability to attract wealth, and self-worth. Okay, so for Sag risings, this is really going to be pivotal and important to our worth and our worth and our resources, where Mars is being clarified for us to go after the things that we want, to refine the ways that we spend, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's effort. All of those things are going to be really important to review and renew for my Sagittarius risings, okay? Let's keep it going. I'm feeding fast here, but we're almost done. So for Capricorn, this is happening in the first house of character, spiritual energy, vitality, appearance, personality, aura, identity, self-knowledge, approach to life, projected energy, and the body. So for my Capricorns, this is happening in a very pivotal place for you. It's very personal, okay? This week has probably been amazing for a Capricorn rising. So hopefully this is a call to really start something, to feel that motivation and to feel that infusion of purpose, so that when motivation fails us, we still have that drive and determination. Okay? And so that's what's coming through for Capricorn risings. Then we have Aquarius. Aquarius. So for Aquarius, this is happening in our 12th house of endings, retreat, secrets, exclusion, isolation, psychological development, okay? So for my Aquarians, this is a time where we're really, where they're really, what's the word? I would say recalibration is a good word. Really recalibrating and redefining and refining how they approach feeling alone, especially for Aquarians, because they are really the bringers of people together, right? Aquarius is the energy of the everyman. Really? Good. I gotta catch one of your lives. I'm usually at work, but put in the chat when your lives are, what days and times. Are you Eastern Standard Time or a different one? Yes, recalibrating. Are you Aquarius rising? Oh, 1 p.m. Pacific. Okay, let me think. Okay, so that's 4. Okay. So this is yes, And this is about how we recalibrate our secret selves and our secret, it's our deepest inner machinations and inner world. And the thing is, as an Aquarius, those things are very unique and interesting and intricate and hard to understand. But I think for Aquarius, it will be a time to kind of clarify and refine and recalibrate how you're connecting with others by first figuring out how you're connecting with yourself. And that is where you start, okay? In that soft secret place. That's what I like to call the 12th house, that soft secret place in the shadows before you bring something to light. Okay? Hi, Quays Creative Healing. Welcome in. Oh, good. So accurate for what you're going through. And you know what? If your partner is having this happening in the 5th house of creativity and joy, then I would say, yeah, lean on that energy that they have and make sure you're letting that person in, to see all the good, the bad, and the beautiful, and the not so beautiful. But that soft secret place, right? That soft secret place is where we're getting a re-infusion and where we can recalibrate what we want to bring to the surface, what we want to bring to the light and share, and what we should maybe be letting go of. Okay? We're doing horoscopes for the Mars Cazimi. So Mars is being drawn into the into the sun's orbit, where it will reemerge as a morning star. And this is a process with which Mars is being clarified, and we're redefining our desires and our wishes and recommitting to those things so that we have endurance once all of these warm, fuzzy feelings kind of wear off. So this is a new start of a new cycle for Mars, starting tomorrow morning at 6:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will post these on YouTube. Yes, thank you, Asteria. Thank you, Kaylee. So for Aquarius rising, yes, this is happening in that soft secret place where Mars is renewing and recalibrating how you connect with your secret self and how you, what you're going to bring to the surface from that deep dive, that the depths of that deep ocean of self that Aquarius has. Okay. So let's move on to Pisces. So for my Pisces, we have Mars being recalibrated and refining its efforts and its desires and its drive in the 11th house. And so that's the house of good spirit, is what the ancients called it. It's the house of groups and audiences and dreams and community and network and sudden blessings. I love this house. I think, honestly, because as a Leo rising, and I think, Koi, if I remember your chart, it was very similar to mine in the way that you are a Leo rising with a Gemini sun, which means that you have the Gemini in the 11th house. So do I. So this is, but this is for Pisces rising. But I just want to kind of like talk a little bit about the 11th house, which would be relate to you as far as where your sun is. But this is for the sake of Pisces horoscopes that we're talking about the 11th house. But the 11th house is really about audiences, community, network, hopes, imagination, wishes. This is about the people who are your well-wishers, who will push you up to that 10th house of career and achievement. So this 11th house of community is really important for Pisces right now. And that's where Mars is getting renewed and getting a renewal of energy, of drive, of endurance, right? So Mars is more of a refined character in the sign of Capricorn, and it's going to take advantage of those connections. What's going to be really important for Pisces is to ask for help when they need it. Okay? Welcome in, Harm. So we talked about Leo rising already, but Leo rising, this is happening in our 6th house of wellness and illness, health, our lifestyle, the unexpected, and the body. So we're going to need to really recalibrate how we're taking care of ourselves, which I am. Thank you so much, Harm. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thanks for stopping in. It's about how we take care of ourselves. Yes, it deals with the unexpected. The 6th house, and this is what I really have to be honest, the 6th house is not the best house. The 6th house is a hard house for Leo rising, especially for it to be Capricorn. It's a difficult house, and it's a house where we have to really figure out. Yes. Yes, Queen. And so, but the thing about it is Leo can handle it. Leo is fortified with heart and courage, comrades, okay? Courage and determination, because we can do it. And there's beauty in other things. Like I said, the 11th house, we have these well-wishers, we have these audiences. So we got to take care of ourselves so that we're ready. And I'm speaking to myself here, so that we're ready for the audience, so that we're ready when the curtain goes up, because we have to be well in our bodies, in our minds, in ourselves. We have to fortify ourselves through the hard stuff. So Mars in Capricorn in the 6th house being clarified is giving us clarity as to what we need to do to take care of ourselves better. Yeah, oh my gosh, yes, I've been reflecting on all of those. Yes, yep. So we're being called to take care of ourselves better, and we can and we will, won't we? Thank you for the roses. Thank you so much. How do I do my oh shoot. How do I do my sounds? I had them up before and now they're gone. Oh, I'm really. Okay. Thank you for the roses. I'm so late. Okay. So I think that's all the horoscopes, but I wanted to talk about, so on Friday this is tomorrow morning at 6:41 a.m. And then on Saturday, and this is where I want to tell you guys about how to see this in the night sky, because on Saturday the sun will oppose Jupiter. And even though technically an opposition is a difficult angle, it's the sun, which is the self, which is our vitality and our life force and our soul, and it's opposing Jupiter, which is the planet of benevolence, of joy, of luck, of philosophy, of good things. So even though it's at an opposition, we're kind of expecting this to be a somewhat meaningful and productive transit on Saturday. And that will happen in the wee hours of the morning. But what's going to be cool about this, and this is a little bit of astronomy for you guys, is that as the sun lines up, as the earth lines up with the sun on one side. So if this hand is the sun, or this hand is the earth, and then you have the sun right here, and then you have Mars, because Mars will also oppose Jupiter. So we've got the sun, earth, Mars, and Jupiter. And so because of that, we will be able to see Jupiter. It will be closer to the earth than it is all year. So I want you guys to go look at it because starting tomorrow night, welcome in, Lauren. Starting tomorrow night, Jupiter is going to be enormous. It's going to be this big yellow, and it's not like Venus. Venus is what we call the brightest star. And it's not a star, but it's really bright and white and beautiful. And it looks just like a bright twinkling star in the skies. But Jupiter, yeah, you might have been able to see it. But Jupiter, let's see. Yeah, because where's the moon? Nope, that wasn't Jupiter. But we will be able to see Jupiter tonight and tomorrow really bright because it's yellow and it's hazy and it's going to be really big. And if the sky is clear enough, You might even be able to see some of Jupiter's moons. Oh, you know what? You're right, because the moon is next to Jupiter. Was next to Jupiter, was in Cancer. You're totally right, Quay. Thank you for persevering, because I was trying to picture it in my mind, like where was the moon at the full moon? And I was like, no, I don't think so. But you're absolutely right, because Jupiter is in Cancer right now. We're in this Capricorn season, so the moon was in Cancer when it was full. Yeah. So keep looking right there, and that's where it's gonna be. Y'all can tell I'm tired. I'm on the upswing though, guys. I've had this flu and I was very feverish at the beginning, top of the week, and I'm trying to put on this play with these teenagers, and I think that it got me sick, but you know, I am feeling a lot better. Yep, that Leo rising. I had somebody in the chat earlier who's had a Leo rising sibling who had eye surgery. It's that sixth house, man. Got to take care of ourselves, and we will. And so, on that note, I'm going to let you guys know that I will be going live Sunday night. And we'll probably do Sunday night at the same time at 5:30. And what I'll do is I'll do the whole week ahead. And we'll talk about, and actually I want to kind of do, oh good, I'm glad you caught me too. And I'm going to probably try and do the first quarter of the year, because we have a transit coming up that will, the biggest transit of the year. It's happening early in the year, and it will reverberate for years. And that is Saturn and Neptune together moving into Aries. And that is going to be pivotal for the world and pivotal for us in our personal lives. And this is going to happen right before the eclipse. A couple days. Wait, I can't remember if it's the eclipse first and then the conjunction. Hold on, let me look. But this is going to happen right around this eclipse. And then the world will be forever changed. I'm telling y'all. Okay. Saturn conjoins Neptune on February 20th. The eclipse, the lunar or the solar eclipse in Aquarius happens on the 17th. So we have this happening 3 days. I knew it was 3 days, but I couldn't remember which way. So we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, where all of these planets, if you look down here at my chart here, you see all these planets in Capricorn. They're all going to be in Aquarius in February with Pluto. And then we have the eclipse. And then we have Saturn conjoin Neptune. So we really need to take advantage of this energy right here, because this is the time to start new things. Yeah, these shifts are going to be wild. They're going to be really wild. I think we're already starting to see that there's going to be some great change, because we have Uranus moving into Gemini in April. And that is where we start to see on the global stage. Oh, hold on, guys. We're going to see on the global stage a lot of shifts of power. Yeah, I'm nervous too. I'm nervous too, but I'm ready. And I think what we have to do is fortify ourselves. This is what we really learn as astrologers, and this is what Vettius Valens, the great ancient astrologer, wanted for us, is that we can look at the skies and determine whether the fortune is favorable or unfavorable. Yeah, the new moon solar eclipse. Is it the 17th harm? We can look at these things that are coming, and it's really important for us to not be swayed by good fortune or bad fortune. The wheel is always going to keep turning, okay? If we're in a time of good fortune, that is temporary. If we're in a time of bad fortune, that is temporary. Congrats, Harm. This is going to be pivotal for you. What's your rising sign? Do you know? The 6th of February, 2027. Oh, okay. Yes, so the wheel is always going to turn. So it is up to us to be what we call soldiers of fate. Okay? To be soldiers of fate, to not be swayed one way or the other, to not let the good times sway us and be like, woo, too much, or to let the bad times drag us down too much, but to stay the steady course, to stay that Zen, walking that middle path of righteousness, of just trying to be seekers of God, seekers of spirit, seekers of our higher selves, or however you want to do it, the middle path. Yes, the wheel is always turning, but guess what? We can always walk take measured steps on the path that we're on. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why, as an astrologer, sometimes I'm like, okay, this is too much. I can't even look anymore. My mental health, because I'm a Gemini, and it's like, but it's really important to really fortify yourself and just keep in mind that, yeah, it's real out here. Just keep in mind that it's important to be soldiers of fate and to fortify ourselves with a heavy grounding, right? And let the things come and go, but we persevere and move forward. I was going to say come and go, but we remain the same, but we don't. We move forward and we keep pushing. Yeah, and if it does stress you out, then yep, it can. I did a deep dive today on moon astrology and progressive charts. And then I started looking at mine and I was like, I'm like, when is there any good fortune, Lord? When will it come? But anyways, love you too, Kaylee. Lords, however you want to say it, be good to me. I have my benefics. My chart is a mess. My Jupiter is fallen Jupiter in Capricorn, and my 6th house, Leo rising Gemini, and then my Venus is with the Sun in Gemini, but it's too close to the Sun. She was coming in for a Cazimi, just like we had a Cazimi on Tuesday. On my birthday, the Venus was approaching the Sun for the Cazimi, but she didn't get drawn in yet. She wasn't there yet. So that's what we call combust. Yeah. I thought I saw some really nice things though in your chart. I saw some really nice things in your chart, Kaylee. And you know what? All of the charts are a mess. That's the secret. All the charts are a mess. There's more misfortune than good fortune. Mm-hmm. So, guys, I am going to go make myself some soup, maybe some tea, try and decongest myself. I know I sound in my voice, but I will be back Sunday and we'll go over the Neptune Saturn conjunction, the eclipses, etc., etc., etc. Nice seeing you. Thank you. And I'll see you guys next time. Till then, keep your eyes peeled for the skies for insight and incredibility.